in 2023. For almost 6 years, when the Saliba administration led transition to the US to go to school at Harvard, and after that, he started getting arrest. I was definitely quiet and didn't bother the government in any way for 5 unbroken years. Then in 2023, we left our closets and thought it was important to play some role in bringing some stability back to the motherland. And while we were doing that, there I was able to come in contact with Sis Fatima. First, as someone who was always calling, talk show, got very engaged, respond, played her part very well. Here we are. She's in the country, though she's a member of the State Council of Monrovia, but beyond that, we like some of the things she's involved with. She's trying to highlight the gains, and I want to say the country, not necessarily about the government, but the gains the country is making. We want to appreciate her. Yesterday she was here at our ministry, and we told her to come back today so she could just face all of you, members of the press. I'm sure at the end she will have something to say before we close. So let's talk some issues. There are still some people in our country whose desire is to see everything crumbling. They would rather have chaos and anarchy here than anything that looks stable. These people will find just anything to hang on. Just in their desperate attempt to plunge the country into crisis. So of late, we've seen them very busy trying to create an impression that the regime here, led by President Waka, is opposed to the administration in Burkina Faso. But I even understood that just conflict among ourselves, I'm not talking about another country, just Liberians, fighting among ourselves saw 250,000 souls perish. They have not understood that that war took us thousands of years backward. Already limited in infrastructure development, we broke down everything. And there they are in their imaginative self, thinking that crisis among ourselves was not enough, but that they should try to spark cross-border conflict, bringing Liberia into conflict with another nation. These people, some of them, you've heard them, are on bended knees, praying for the government, which by extension the country, to fail. Because they say they want to be president. And if the country succeeds, it becomes impossible for them to be president. Basically, they are involved with dangerous politics. Trying to unite and invoke conflict between Liberia and a sisterly country. So we believe as a government we have to call them to order and expose their evil intent. These elements have been carrying fake news and basically childish propaganda. But they forgot to know that, as a matter of fact, Liberia has always been in the forefront of defending the interests of Africa. There are misinformation they are spreading so fast, promoting a concept of anti-Pan-Africanism on the part of our country is a conspiracy that is illogical and very mischievous. But look, the truth is, here we are dealing with a very hostile, desperate, and frustrated opposition that will not play by the norms of democracy, whether now or in the future. These people are interested in blackening the image of our republic at this critical time, but we will not allow them to succeed. Their objective is obvious: tarnish Liberia's image as a defender of African interests, and by extension try to undermine our quest for a non-permanent seat on the U.S. Security Council. Our distinguished Foreign Minister, Madam Sarah Bertrand-Nyanti, has made multiple visits to Burkina Faso. In fact, there is a video made by the government of Burkina Faso with a number of other foreign actors, including our Foreign Minister, highlighting what those people in the video are doing to help the cause of the people of Burkina Faso. At one point, our minister went with a high-level security team. They developed a memorandum of understanding on security cooperation between the two countries. They have a full working session, and the MOU is being concluded. How then can people be desperately trying to create an impression that this very country that is so engaged for our sister country is anti-that same country? And so, to close on the matter, I want to say that it is foolhardy for anyone in Liberia to attempt painting the country as an anti-Pan-Africanist nation, and perhaps suggesting that we are puppet to some foreign forces against the interests of Africa. You cannot deceive the African people about Liberia's stance on African issues. In a couple of news papers lately, we've seen many publications about the rail program that is supposed to stretch from Guinea into Liberia that brings in both Achilobita and HPX on another hand. We've observed that many of the publications are trying to do finger-pointing and labeling accusations against key officials of the government. We've seen your publications, but we can say this much. Firstly, the fact that there can be these discourses about foreign investors in Liberia first establishes one fact: that this country that was all of a sudden the pariah nation, the rogue state, nobody had time for it, is again a attraction for international investors. So the government will believe this is good. It is a strong indication of a vote of confidence in what we are doing as a government and as a country. They know that we are striving democratically with the multiple transitions. They know that we've been enhancing and consolidating our security. They know that we are creating an environment that is good for businesses to thrive. And so this place is once more a place of traction by international investors. And as all of you will know, this country is endowed with natural resources that unfortunately have not been used for the good of the country and the people of the country. And for once, you have a government led by President Walker that is now focused on making sure that happens. So we've heard all your concerns, we've seen all your publications, we've seen all your things. But as I speak to you now, the Inter-Ministerial Council Committee on Concession and Investment is meeting as I speak. A meeting that is being presided over by the President himself. So all the concerns you have, as per those publications, at the end of that meeting, as the spokesperson of the government, will receive the appropriate briefings and with all your doubts as far as the situation you're trying to create. That there are government officials who are engaged in out of honor money, this group or that group, at the detriment of the government. We'll be able to clear all those doubts when they conclude that meeting which the President is presiding over as we speak. This country is not hanging in the sky. It's properly situated and being governed by a team of people who understand exactly what governance is. And because the fish will normally get rotten from the head, and we do have a head that is not rotten, but it's alight and conscious, we are all bound to do the right thing. And in the end, I always say this, people are rotten. Some people after 1 year say the government have failed already. I always told you that to judge the success or failure of the government, you have to take the time and wait for the period of the government's mandate to end. You see, when we started shouting 2023 during the campaign to say, leave these people, they failed, because they were at the end of the period given to them by the. So once we establish clearly, by the time you come to October, which is election time, maybe it's September ago, so you can determine whether that regime has failed or they've succeeded. In your cases, in 6 months or so, some people already say the government failed. With no due consideration that the government had a 6-month mandate. But I'm very sure many of them now are overwhelmed with the upward of the administration. And so some of the mischiefs, you've seen that what they were trying to do with Rio Burkina Faso now became a strategy. We've seen all the successes to the extent that now becoming prayer warriors. To say we are praying for the government to fail, begin their new profession. They say that one person can pray. When you go to churches and mosques, see those places fail. Everybody there praying for different reasons. Just how you think God likes you and He will answer your prayer, that the other man feel too. But any prayer that wants a nation to fail is a prayer that wants the people to suffer. So the prayer we bring in against our prayer, our own prayer, Holy Ghost fire prayer. And we'll see who we do. We are expecting a major guest in the country. The president of the Barbados will be arriving in Liberia. The visit comes more than a year after the two countries established diplomatic relations on stewardship of Her Excellency Sarah Besco Nyanti, the Foreign Minister of Liberia. On April 29, the Barbados ambassador to Liberia and Ghana presented her letters of credence to President Waka as a way of strengthening the new diplomatic relation which aligns with Liberia's foreign policy goals to enhance engagement with Caribbean nations, seek tourism, trade, and investment opportunities. It also envisions cooperation in tourism, including human resources training in partnership with Bajan educational institutions and cultural exchanges involving festivals and events management. The Bajan president and her delegation will arrive in Liberia on the 8th. And their 3-day visit will include signing bilateral agreements between the two countries, a luncheon at the Monrovia City Hall, a visit to Providence Island on May 9, and on Saturday, May 10. The delegation here, President Waka, will travel to Kuwor for a series of programs, including the dedication of a presidential monument honoring 3 Liberian presidents of Bajan descent, Arthur Barkley, Edwin Barkley, and Charles Judy Bryant. The 346 families settled in Kuwor and contributed immensely to Liberia's development, governance, law, media, and communication. Some notable families were linked to the Barbados, the Popes, you know about Aberport, the Padmos, Goodrich, Eastman, Weeks, Cars, Trosh. Discussions during the video meeting were centered around economic partnership, particularly in fisheries, the potential for rum production in Liberia, and the opportunity to develop Kuwor as a prime heritage tourism destination. For a good while, the public is witnessing uninterrupted flow of electricity, a trend that suggests a stable and reliable power supply, which is crucial for both residential and commercial activities in the country. Some of you have followed the appearances of the LEC boss on local radio stations, including just yesterday, when he made interesting revelations about the vision of the team, indicating how they intend to transform LEC in the short and long run. First, they are trying to improve the operational stability of the LEC. So they have adopted a results-oriented strategy that focuses on leveraging regional networks to enhance the supply of 45 to 50 megawatts of electricity from just the Ivory Coast alone. They are also trying to go for the low-hanging fruits. That is, enhancing the local capacity of the existing infrastructure of the country. And they include the Mount Coffee Hydro, the Japanese plant on the Kuwor Island, they just concluded a power purchase agreement with Guinea that will bring additional 30 megawatts. And they are changing their approach for power sharing to zero load shedding. Quite revolutionary in a short time. For somebody who's still acting, they are ensuring that reliable electricity means fewer disruptions in operation, which will allow businesses to operate smoothly and efficiently. By their action, they're trying to increase investors' confidence. Because with a consistent supply of power, you can attract new investors. And as businesses seek environment where they can operate without risks, certainly Liberia can be a destination. The LEC hopes to contribute to economic growth because stable energy supply can stimulate economic activities, which will lead to job creation and overall growth in the country. Over the weekend, a 20-member high power delegation of the government of Liberia, headed by the Minister of Mines and Energy, Jerelinkmai Paye, with a team that was made of ministries of finance and development planning, state for presidential affairs, as well as the Liberian Revenue Authority and the central bank, completed a compliance review into the operations of B Mountain Company in Jerelinkmai County. The assessment is a part of ongoing effort to ensure all mineral rights holders comply fully with the minerals and mining laws of the law of the Republic and the government's broader concession monitoring strategy. The delegation assessment focused on evaluating the company's adherence to standard operating procedures governing gold exportation, gold melting, packaging, weighing, storage, and export operations. The National Transit Authority, has announced that in keeping with their plans to revamp public transportation in the country, the Ministries of Finance and Development Planning and private vendor, a Liberian-owned vendor, have signed a contract for the procurement of 55 buses and 5 cargo trucks. The debt of the contract has been approved by the Debt Management Committee, and the resolution approving the contract is expected to be completed this week, thus giving the green light to proceed with the procurement process. If all goes well as planned, the buses and cargo trucks are expected to arrive in the country in 60 days. It can be recalled that on May the 5th, the building hosting the National Transit Authority that was in 2022 was caught by fire. Investigation into that incident by the National Fire Service showed that the fire was a result of arson attack. Following this incident, the administration of the NTA has been operating without a functioning administrative building. So we're pleased to inform the public that a contract for the construction of a new administrative building has been concluded and signed with the Ministry of Justice and Finance and Testing. And the President of Liberia is expected to break ground for the commencement of the construction at the end of the month. The Liberia Civil Aviation Authority has been celebrating Aviation Awareness Week. The celebration started on Monday And the government has conveyed its fullest commitment to investing in modernizing local airports and their air navigation system. The government of Nigeria considers the aviation industry as a key payload to national development. Most so, the government will collaborate with regional and international bodies to ensure that Liberia remains vital and competitive in global aviation, as was done in the past when the Rabat International Airport was once a basic hub in West Africa, to complement Liberians who dream of connecting by air to every corner of the world. The Liberia Air Farm Complex, supported by an agreement between the government of Liberia and Bank Lomi, aims to construct a comprehensive poultry facility. Agrotop Limited and Jerelinkmai Company is overseeing this development, which will include multiple facilities such as the layer and pullet houses, an air packaging center, and a feed mill. The project, approved in August of 2023, has a budget of 26.06 million euro and is expected to produce 70,000 eggs. 70 million, sorry. 70 million. Hello, you heard me? 70 million eggs annually. Clear indication that we're on the verge of stopping the importation of egg to Liberia. The facility aims for a daily production of 200,000 eggs, contributing to national food security and job creation. Initial working capital will be available 6 weeks after the government appoints the management team. The project is expected to create hundreds of jobs, enhance local food system, improve public health by increasing protein availability. The project is progressing well, but will require the prompt attention of logistical and operational challenges to be addressed, and the collaboration between the government and Agrotop is essential for overcoming some of the associated issues. We talked to lay this story because some of our local people are doing very well. The historic Saninkole pre-primary school, originally constructed by former President William V.S. Topman in Saninkole, was recently destroyed by storm. The county authority ensured that the destroyed building was demolished, not just because they wanted to remove it, but to commence a rebuilding process. That school holds historical significance and has served as a foundation for early childhood education in the country for decades. Madam Superintendent Mia Paye affirmed that the building exercise, symbolizing a significant step toward restoring hope and normalcy in the educational journey of the affected students, and the county administration commitment to ensuring education as well as the well-being of school-going children, and become a process that will see the full restoration of that damaged school. Finally, we would like to give you some updates from the Ministry of Public Works. One of the sectors which we feel so good talking about most of the times, because everyone has projected already that it is a sector that has been seen and we know we overperform. At the recent review of the AARD, consistent with what has happened with USAID, everybody agreed that that sector is performing and will overperform. So they sent to us some updates that they want us to share with you. Update 1 is focused on community gravel roads and how they are being improved. They believe that is a transformative initiative that is designed to rehabilitate and upgrade existing unpaved urban roads through the installation of culverts in critical locations and to ensure that those roads that are not a focus for pavement currently are always applied. The program targets the most critical and activity-based corridor within Monserrado, might give